Would you look at the trackpad? Look at it, it's huge. Here is my laptop from, I want to say 4 years ago maybe, could be 5, not quite sure. It's still a pretty good laptop. It's a strong performer. I used it a lot for video editing, a little bit of gaming, did the job just fine. The thing is though, it's freaking huge. Just look at the thing, it's big, it's bulky, it doesn't fit in my bag. I'm not even joking either, just look at this shot. It literally does not fit in my bag. But this is a laptop, it's meant to be taken around, but that's difficult to do, so it ends up just stayed plugged in at my desk. So my wish to the Windows 10 lords that be out there is to give me a laptop which has high performance, is great for creative apps like editing videos and photos, I can play games on it, but also, you know, I can just use it like a laptop. Huh. Well, that might just do it. Here we have the Dell XPS 15, and isn't it just lovely? It arrives in a wonderfully premium box here, which is made primarily from recycled material. Fun fact, the tray that is in there holds the laptop and houses the accessories underneath. It's actually made from 25% ocean plastics collected from coastal areas, and the remaining 75% is made from other recyclables. That's pretty cool. Props to Dell for that one. Now, when you get it out of the box, you will feel the weight of this laptop, which is about 1.8 to 2 kilograms, depending on if you have the touchscreen version or not. We don't, so ours is 1.8 kilograms, which for a big performance laptop is actually not too bad. I wouldn't call it an effort to carry around by any means. It's definitely a one-hander anyway. Looking at the outside, the craftsmanship here is everything you would expect from a Windows 10 premium device. The top of this device has that classic Dell look to it with that very recognizable logo, which is laser cut out of a sheet of stainless steel and then dropped into a machine cut outline, which is very premium sounding. The device itself goes through an anodizing process twice, which I won't pretend to understand, but what it does mean is that it's more resistant to scratches and repeat damage from, say, plugging things into the various ports. Speaking of which, there is an array of ports. You have 2 Thunderbolt 3 ports on one side, which if you've not used them before, it looks exactly the same as a USB-C port, but it's just much faster transfer speeds. On the other side, we have a standard USB-C port and a full-size SD card slot as well, so photographers take note on that one. Plus, if you need a HDMI port or a standard USB-A port, you're all good. There's an adapter included in the box as well. Final note, if you're wondering, is you can charge this via the Thunderbolt 3 ports or the USB-C port to charge up the humongous 86 watt-hour battery that is inside here. More about that later. Now, the thing I want to take note of here, and this is really the first step towards being a laptop that you can actually use as a laptop, is that it's still really thin. The device itself is 18 millimeters thick, or more accurately, 18 millimeters thin. Now, I'm not going to be unrealistic here. There are thinner laptops on the market, I know, but you will really struggle to find a laptop that packs this amount of power that this does whilst remaining very, very thin. In fact, it's safe to say you won't, because at the time of writing and filming this, this is the smallest 15.6 inch performance class laptop in the world. Now, you can actually open up this device with one finger whilst having a cup of tea in the other hand, if you're feeling so British. I'm a coffee man myself, but we won't get hung up on that sort of information, all right? Now, the inside of this device just screams Dell XPS. We have our black palm rest made from carbon fiber, inspired by the aerospace industry, giving it maximum strength whilst keeping that total weight down. We have our backlit keyboard with these nice large keypads as well. And would you look at the trackpad? Look at it. It's huge, it's as big as my hand. It's massive, I have large hands. To be serious for a moment, I've never understood the appeal of large trackpads. I mean, why would you need it to be so large when you're just moving a few fingers around? But honestly, it's a joy to use. You barely even think about where your finger is when you're moving the cursor around. Plus, it makes gesture controls like bringing up the timeline on Windows so much easier. So for those that want to know as well, the trackpad itself is 14% larger than the previous version, and yeah, it's great. Speakers we will highlight a little later, but it's time that we talk about one of the highlights of the new Dell XPS 15, the Infinity Edge display. I'll just get this out there now. The display on this is stunning. It's an edge-to-edge display on all four sides, so no more big bezel at the bottom, which makes it 5% larger than previous models because it now has a 16:10 ratio rather than the more common 16:9, also known as widescreen. Making it slightly taller, which is great for things like snapping windows side by side, multitasking in general. Now, the screen, you have some options. The version that we have here is the non-touch 1920 by 1200 HD Plus display, basically 1080p, but it's a bit taller, more pixels, very nice. Now, you can get this as a touch display with a 4K Ultra HD Plus panel with a glass display made from Gorilla Glass 6, making it very scratch resistant. Now, of course, we can only go off of our experience that we have had with the HD Plus display here, but this display is so crisp that I personally was fooled into thinking that the screen was a higher resolution than it was. I think it's safe to assume that the 4K version will be pretty stunning if this is what we've got here. Elsewhere, the screen delivers on 500 nits of brightness, which is normal speak for basically really, really bright. And for you color buffs out there, this is a certified display HDR 400 panel, enabling over 16 million colors, giving you a much more real-to-life visuals. We have support for Dolby Vision, giving you 40 times brighter bright and 10 times darker darks, plus a 100% Adobe RGB and 94% DCI-P3 color gamuts. That is a lot of tech speak, but if you're in the industry that requires great color from a screen, I hope you enjoyed that. So we still need to cover off performance, which we will get to, I promise. I'm gonna save that for later. Right now, I want to get into the hot topic that I mentioned at the beginning of this video. Despite this being a performance class laptop, meaning that it will most likely stay at your desk, can we actually use it as a laptop? Come join me on the sofa. Welcome to my sofa. Now, from the get-go, despite this having a 15.6-inch display, the footprint of this device is still fairly small because of the very thin bezels around the screen. That is great because it means I can just balance this on my lap quite nicely. Lovely. Now, we can open it up and logging in is as easy as looking at the screen, since the 15-inch version of the Dell XPS now supports Windows Hello facial recognition, which is simply fantastic. It's using the webcam and the sensors at the top of the display, which you will see flash red when it's trying to recognize you. Setting up facial recognition is extremely simple, as it will prompt you to do this when you go through your initial Windows 10 setup, though you can do this later if you choose to. And also, if you have the very latest Windows 10 update, you can set up passwordless login. This means that for your one device, you can only log in with either facial recognition, a custom PIN, or fingerprint recognition, as this also still supports Windows Hello fingerprint recognition, which is right in the power button as well. Nice. Multitasking is a breeze here because of this massive trackpad, making it easy to flick Office applications side by side or have different Edge browser tabs open, even run some creative applications, some of which you can get via a Microsoft 365 subscription. Quick plug here, if you're a Microsoft 365 subscriber, you get access to not only the best productivity suite in the world, but you can also access partner benefits where you can try out a variety of applications for free, like at the time of this recording, 3 months of select Adobe creative apps like Photoshop. All of this from the sofa. So that's great, but for a laptop, I still haven't really moved anywhere, so let's get outside. Granted, I can't go very far because 1, it can rain any second here in the UK, and 2, hey 2020, how you doing? But the main reason I wanted to do this was really just highlight the battery. One of the biggest complaints I have about performance laptops is that normally the battery doesn't hold up much. A couple hours if you're lucky, and I don't mean just with big applications and games, I mean literally everything. I'm happy to say here that taking this out, whether that be to a coffee shop or the office or someone else's house, whatever the case might be, this does very, very well. The full HD Plus version that we have here comes with the claim of up to 25 hours of battery life. Whoa, 25 hours? That's mental! It is. Now, take that with a grain of salt because the amount of time you get from the battery will largely depend on the tasks that you are doing. What I can comfortably say is that it easily gets around the 10 to 15 hours mark of battery based on using multiple office applications, variety of browser tabs open, kind of standard stuff really. Of course, with the screen, the XPS 15 is amazing for media playback. Speaking of which, the speakers sound like this. Here you go.
Today on How to 365, we'll be taking a dive into Editor.
You have Waves NX speakers that are built front-facing on the laptop, and they are very good. Laptop speakers, I never personally have much of an expectation for them, but I am a big fan of these. I could genuinely sit here and watch a film or a show or whatever. If we go back to the battery for a moment, if you're doing what I would call usual work stuff or browsing, you'll end up with something that doesn't slow down, runs with ease, plus you can take it with you, fully charged in the morning, knowing that you'll get home and you won't run out of juice. So does that answer the question of can you use this like an actual laptop? You're damn right it does. Now, I'm gonna get out of here because it's starting to rain. So if you've reached this far into the video, it's fair to say this is a great looking laptop that can actually be a laptop. But even with all that, a Dell XPS 15 has an expectation of being a high performer. So does it cut the mustard? Packed into our device here, we have a 10th gen Intel Core i7, 16GB of RAM, a 1TB NVMe SSD of storage, an NVIDIA 1650 graphics card. Now, the XPS 15 has a range of specs to choose from. You can go down to an i5, for instance. You can have smaller SSD storage. You can go all the way up to a huge 64GB of RAM, etc., etc. Now, for the purpose of this video, we will stick to how this particular configuration runs. It's important to note as well that you're not going to see benchmarks here. We are not about the numbers. We just want to know how it actually runs in real-world scenarios. Now, to do this, I wanted to test it by doing what I do most weeks, which is, frankly, lots of video editing. Unfortunately, all the editing I have to do is after filming this. Awkward. So I'm just going to pass it over to future Adam, who's in the office. Take it away, future Adam. Thanks, past Adam. Now, I edit videos normally with a gaming laptop, which is buried under the desk here, plugged into a bunch of stuff with 2 monitors up here, and that's great for me, but kind of defeats the object of being a proper laptop. I might as well have a desktop computer under there. So for this, I'm going to be abandoning that setup and I'll just be using the Dell XPS 15 with nothing else plugged in at all. Now, with the XPS 15, power is not an issue. The i7 I have in here is a desktop class processor, meaning that it will push out more power compared to a traditional laptop processor because it's able to control the heat distribution. It does this via an advanced thermal design, which has dual fans separated to spread heat over a larger area. It also has dual heat pipes and a hidden exhaust venting through the hinge itself. All of this means it is able to control the heat whilst being this thin. We also have the NVIDIA 1650 graphics card, so I'm able to preview 4K footage in real time, which has helped by the fact that this laptop features NVMe SSD storage. If you don't know what that is, just look up loading time videos for the new Xbox Series X and S consoles, which feature custom NVMe SSD storage. In the console space, SSD is something we are starting to shout about really now, but in the PC space, it's something that we've been shouting about in Windows 10 for a long time now. And SSD is what makes a modern Windows 10 experience. Startup times are quicker, app load times are faster. Previewing my footage here is easier because the information my system needs gets around a lot smoother, something that my current gaming laptop can struggle with from time to time. Rendering time is also very good for a laptop, so an old video I've worked on here is 10 minutes of 4K footage that took around 7 minutes to render. That's pretty reasonable. All of this gave me a stable experience when working, and it was pretty rare that I saw any slow up at all, to be honest. Granted, over time, small things you might notice more, but this would be a sizable upgrade to the laptop I'm personally using right now. Keep in mind, when we did all this, the laptop itself was plugged in. With it unplugged, you will see a decrease in performance, as that is what the processor is designed to do, ultimately, to save on the battery life, which will run out quicker with these sort of tasks. But in spite of that, I actually managed to get another one of the projects that I'm working on edited and rendered just using the battery power, and that is pretty cool. Gaming wise, the 1650 graphics card pairs up with our processor and 16GB of RAM and is great with the HD Plus display that we have on this particular XPS. I can't speak for the model with the 4K display here, but in this instance, we were able to load up Game Pass for PC, which gives you a library of over 100 games to play via subscription, including Dishonored 2 and Forza Horizon 4, both of which we ran at ultra graphics at 1080p at a smooth 60 frames per second when plugged in. And for comparison, we did try Forza Horizon 4 on the battery power, and that was able to run at high graphics at 30 frames per second just from the battery. Add to that the fact that the internal SSD storage will give you faster load times as well. Now keep in mind, if you're considering the 4K version or a lower configuration of the XPS, you will get different results to what we've seen here. And if you're looking for gaming itself specifically, you just want a laptop just for gaming, you may well want to look at some other options as well. There are some incredible Windows 10 gaming laptops just for that task. But if you're looking for something to game on, which as well as that is beautifully designed, can withstand everything that you throw at it, from stuff from your place of work to creative hobbies, and it's easy to carry around, this is great. Thanks, Future Adam. So there you go, the new Dell XPS 15, a premium Windows 10 laptop, the thinnest performance class laptop in the world, something that packs a punch, great for professionals, but can also, you know, just be a laptop when you want it to be. Isn't that nice? Thanks for watching. See you around.